Hey people, I found this Stella while I was looking closer into that story of the Serpent in Genesis from that movie I did yesterday, and couldn't find a whole lot. It's not out there, this single picture is lit up. I just found enough to see that this isn't a museum, it's authentic. But as I search, the picture's coming up close to it. Nothing has the broom rider. And this is what this looks like to me. It looks like he's on the broom. It's called the besom, or the vesum. It was on the witch's Sabbath on the broom ride. And you see it here, standing up with the light on top of it. When you search similars, they come up as Serapes and Isis, or with a Pegasus with a wheel in between. And sometime the spot in between is void, or sometime with the rose. But I found this book at Project Gutenberg. I'll leave the link in it, top comment, while I was searching for that image. It's a second edition, revised from 1875. And it's just full of old symbols. And it shows a lot of them that you've never seen that mix up the old Egyptian and Celtic and Indian all in the same symbols. He shows many different symbols and shows the associations. And I ran into this one, and so this told off a lot. He gave a clue in little writing underneath here about when his friend had looked at this. You might have seen an old lady when she was mad at something, she would eyeball it on her thumb and then pretend to be smashing it under her thumb, the fist. It means not good. When the thumb's up, that's thub, that's good. When he saw it was good, it was thumbs up. But when the thumb's down, that's fist. And you see it here, his left hand is fist. He's got the bow in it. And in the right hand, they went out of the way to show you that the thumb isn't tucked. And so the left hand here is the fist. That's why when you see this Hebrew word fist, it'll mean the bow, in the left hand, in the fist. But it's also the arch, but it's to bend the bow. You can see it here with the marks above saying F-I, the fist. And it could be the rainbow, as the appearance of the rainbow, as the bow of the cloud, or the bow in your hand. And I believe I saw it other places where they said it was anger. And so, when not happy, you get the fist. Then I run into this symbol and look real similar. It's got a androgynous god between the sun and the moon serpents, and the sun serpent on the side with the amphor or the vesser, and the moon on the side with the chalice. And it says down here that this piece was taken from the cult of symbols and attributes to the monuments, figures of Venus, believed to be of late Babylonian. So the shape of the gem indicates the dedication to Venus. And that's what this word would read as if somebody had an old Bible without all the markings. This first word in Genesis 3 isn't the serpent, but it's the V-E-N-H-S. The Greeks use the H as the E, the V-E-N-E-S, the Venus. So these symbols are Serapes and Isis with the figure 8 knot on the tail. And I believe this means a guarantee, a warranty. You can see that in the name as Sarah, will be appeased, will be happy. If you're a redneck, you might just read that as sure happy, sure appease. And Isis is, as says, and sure to be happy as says, and guaranteed. And then the plaque above the head is empty, and that makes me think it means death. And the symbol here could be the Egyptian symbol for flame or light. Like say sitting on the vesum, to fill them, to vesum with light. To vesum with light, to fill them with the knowledge of death. And that's what the broom ride was about, to see the other side, to talk to the dead. The death and rebirth of the broom ride. You see him here with his finger to his mouth. It looks like he's just pointing. And this is in every image of this Harpocrates, always pointing at the mouth. You see, he wears the crown of the hammer, the word. His feet are broke off. He probably had his left foot forward. And this pointing at the mouth, they'll say it represents to be quiet, hushing, but it's not. He's pointing at the call. And this could be spelled with a Q, foul, in foul language, the call, the voice, the Q-U-L, Q-O-U-L, or K-L, K-A-L, the call, and he's naming his wife and what to call, the call itchy. And you can see it here, the voice, and it's in Yammer, the call foul, joking. And here there is a noise of war, is the foul from will come. Or here where it was the noise of the horsemen shall flee the whole city and go into the rocks and climb up, is from foul pars aroma. And that's the stink. They didn't hear them, they smelt them. From foul pars. Pars is what you're supposed to shoot on the golf course, and anything above that is foul. And it's you smelling a little worse than par. From foul pars aroma fish. This fist is also the fish. The aroma fished. To bear it. Call. You should eat is to call to. To a call. In the day that a call come. The day of harvest. And to ate is and to call. What call? What a call. And so call, is going in or out of your mouth, what you call. Anything goes in and out of your mouth, you cull it. You're responsible for everything goes in and out of your mouth. Don't speak lies and don't eat poison. So I was watching that last movie I posted, and I was looking at this first line and this 20th line side by side, and I caught something. This first word here in Genesis 3 I told you was Venus, V-N-H-S. And here it's when aches, A-C-H-S. And when aches high horium, make all high it is as die. When Venus, the high horium, she's the high whore, in the high horium to make all high it is as die, D-I-E. This is as dot here, is as die. High as is die, as roses you halo him. As roses you halo him. And you read about this, the Harpocrates on Wikipedia. They got a big page on him. And down here at the bottom, it says there's a tale that relates a story about the Greek gods when Aphrodite, was Venus, gave a rose to her son, Eros, the rose, Erotica, the god of love, and he in turn gave it to the Harpocrates to ensure that his mother's indiscretions, or those of the gods in general and other accounts, were kept under wraps, silence. And this gave roses the connotation of secrecy. A rose suspended from the ceiling of a council chamber pledged all present sub rosa. Under the rose, can't speak, which continued through the Middle Ages and through the modern era. So Venus gave rose to her son, Eros, or Horus, the god of silence and secrecy, which when full grown was considered the victorious god of the sun. And so Venus gives rise to the sun half the time. So half the time she puts him to bed, and half the time she rises him. So to give rise means, that Venus would be coming up before the sun. That's what Horus would mean. So anytime they see this little crescent here, they try to associate it with the moon. They want you to think they didn't have telescopes back then. But if you got real good eyes, you can almost see the smile on Venus. And just a little pair of binoculars, you can see it well. But it's got a little smile just like the moon. It's always smiling back at the sun. So, when Venus comes up in the morning, it's smiling back down at the sun. It was the god of love. Venus giving you a smile. Gonna be a good morning. Then you don't see it all day until the next morning. And then when it gets on the other side of the sun, you just see it in the evening. So this represents the sun down here shining up on Venus. And so that's why they have different gods with different qualities. But even in some of the oldest images, they still knew there was a crescent up there. It was Ashtar or Ishtar, particularly associated with the worship in the ancient Levant, Canaanite, and Phoenicians. And the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, and the Levant are all the same place. It's a different time who was in power. So Levant means these are the keepers of the Jewish religion, Levant. She was also celebrated in Egypt during times of the reign of the Ramessides. That sides, that's that one they say is the field, and it's where your word suicides and homicides, it's cast aside, the death. And the Rama is branches, the branches to kill. The lost tribes. Written the same in the Phoenician and the Hebrew. God of war, sex, and fertility. Her consort was Baal, equivalents to Aphrodite, Venus, Ishtar, Inanna, or Ishara, or Shushaka. And she was the daughter of the heavens, Uranus, and the earth, Gaia, and was the sister of God. So Venus is also Aphrodite, and this is where your word fraud come from, and it's where your word morphodite come from, and it's also where your word Friday come from. God of love, lust, beauty, pleasure, passion, and procreation. And her symbol was the rose, seashell, same as Venus. And she was brought forth from the sea foam of rose. And they'll say her name comes from that. The afro is the sea foam. And the dite, they'll say, is a wanderer. But we know that a morphodite, the morph is the change, difference. And dite doesn't fit in bright or wander in there. But the dite is to set down in writing, or, two specks. And was also pictured as Herma. The son of Hermes, the hermaphrodite. This is often depicted as a statue with just a head and genitalia. You see it on this boundary marker with the knot of ought to, and don't cross my line. So that's surely what they were being hush about. It's the same as all you politicians today. And so this was also Cupid, the god of childish joy. And when you look at this in the Greek, the fall of man, Genesis 3, it's the appease. The appease on chronomatatos. And, I looked at this before, and chronomatato, matato is the ist, that which is from the ist. And the crony they're trying to say is skill, but it's more of a crony is your friends, and the appease on the friendliest. It wasn't the most skilled, was the friendliest of all the beasts in the garden. And when aches I Oriamical, high at the side as rose you, the halo him. And so it's talking about Venus. Venus rose before the sun, and Venus, the Oriamical, high at the side. As roses, you halo him. And so the halo is Venus coming up before the sun. Venus is the halo. And yammer and said, all is, as I say. The woman Isis, this is I say is Isis. Isis is in these letters here with these dots, but backwards it's first. It's all is as I say, and I'm the one who running things. The woman affirm them. AFUK. The key is the vav. It's a U. AFU backwards RM, a farmer Rollo. I'm is as I say, a farmer Rollo. I'm the one that affirms the word of all of high him. A lot of cleave, a lot of cleavage. The oldest image of Venus, she had a lot of cleavage. A lot of cleavum to cull oxygen. And so that means she had a lot of pull over the trees, the oxygen, and from cull, the oxygen. So up here it has two little dots up top, and that's what makes it Isis. And this line says read it backwards, and so it's reading ES-A-S-A-S-A-E, and the E-A-E is ES too, is as is. And then the other way is as, and the dot in the middle says you're reading this twice through here. It says the top line, the I, and then the S, and then the A-E becomes, the mark underneath is the A, and the E becomes the E-S. That's Isis, I-S-E-S. Is as I says, S-E-S, as I says. But here it's got different markings here, and it's just reading through one time, and it has ass is that the woman, the one that has the ass, and what to hammer has ass is, what to my hammer, the one that has the ass, the woman. All seen snakes. That's where that serpents come from. This is all in S-E-H is other E and N. Seen. And underneath that's the A, and then this E is ash. And so all seen snakes. She was always dancing with this rattle to imitate the sound of a rattlesnake. If she didn't have no rattle, she just pick up a couple snakes and shake them. She would wrap tails and mate with serpents. So this scene of being spelt with the S-H, and then it's a N-E, and it's like a zine. All your drugs end with the ene, the caffeine and the tryptamine, thorazine. They all come from the serpents. And all zine snakes. From Peri, from around, P-I-R-I, from periods in just gonna call. This isn't necessarily woman, it's more feminine. And you can see here, what a Maurice, E-A-S, E-A-S-E, what a Maurice. Maurice is a French term for the gay guy that's running the hostel. Maurice, the friendliest in the garden. And what to Maurice? Says all seeing snakes from around. It's in jest, G-A-E, ingest, and then gonna a call, gonna eat. And from fiery hot, says her. And from fiery hot, says her. This is and from Peri around hoax. And it's also from fiery hot, says her, around hoax as her by toking. So the hoax is, this will kill you. And assure by toking, T-O-W-K-I-N, by token gessage. Ingessage is the way you're taking it in, and they're ingesting by toking the gessage in hammer all of him of the lotto, of the chance, a clue from the menu, the chance to clue from the menu to lootage, and lootage U, the two dots underneath are the Y-O-U, and the lootage U, boofing. And boofing is, that's the way they're doing this. They're toking it. They're blowing smoke up their ass is the way they used to do these drugs. into toking gestogen, and the lotto and the chance clue from the menu to lootage, you boofing up your butt, boofing. The boofing nautum, a nautical, an astronaut out there. You boofing autumn time tune. You boofing autumn time tune. And that's about the time they're doing it. They're boofing autumn in autumn. And why Homer? Who command the nakes? All is as is. All is, as says the Lotto, not Shirley. It's Lotto, L-O-A, and then backwards T-O-U, the Lotto of moot, from out, O-U-T, from out the time tune. And who command the nakes? All is, as is the Lotto from what time tune, and the chance from out time tune. And so part of this ceremony is the knowing that you might die. 100% of the people who do the ceremony die, and not all of them come back. And that fear of death is a big part of the psychological part of this drug. Yeah, you have to know anytime you're going into it that you might die. Somebody might not have mixed this up just right. And I would tell you different, but I wouldn't want to ruin the experience.
Don't forget. Hooty hoot, hooty hoot. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.